What if my mom passed away and I like inherit a property from her, but she's under foreclosure and have like her property's under foreclosure? What should I do?
So it's a very important question we get a lot when next of kin is someone who inherits the property, but the property is subject to foreclosure. It's a more involved and it's a more difficult question and procedure that needs to be followed. Why? There are certain notice requirements that the bank have to follow when the foreclosure starts. And what happens with those notices are towards an individual. So a state, a lot of times, cannot inherit these notice requirements. And a lot of times, a state will not be able to invoke certain defenses that an individual has or rather had. So in this situation, we have to look at the deficiencies of the action that was started by the bank. Let me give you an example. There was one time the bank had started an action after the person had passed away. Well, guess what? In situations like that, under New York law, the action becomes nullity, meaning the action doesn't exist because technically you cannot sue a dead person. So I really want to draw attention to intricacies in dealing with cases where unfortunately loved one had passed away and left in a state that is subject to foreclosure. Those cases are winnable. There's no question about that. But each case merits its own detailed evaluation. When did the action start? When your loved one passed away? What happened? Were they properly served? Was the estate substituted? There are numerous questions that my team asks when at the initial consultation and as the case progresses further. It's a very important question. Unfortunately, we deal a lot of times with these situations when loved one passed. A lot of times it is of age or a violent crime. We had a unfortunate, just in a heartbreaking case where a violent crime was perpetrated against our client, and we're dealing with the estate issues. And obviously the next of kin, her daughter, is very emotional about that because the crime actually occurred at the property. So you have to consider your legal defenses and you have to consider estate defenses that may be available to you. Great question. We get it all the time, but very, very delicate act in foreclosure when it involves an estate.
Contact us today. Get a free case review.